was very difficult to get a book out, and it was considered a very prestigious thing. It's still considered prestigious, but it's much easier to do.
We're talking about Kindle, Amazon, and other digital formats books.
Anybody can go to kdp.com, which is Amazon's publishing platform, and publish pretty much anything. Now, the problem is that if it's terrible, nobody's going to buy it.
I feel like with Web3, it's disrupting how we experience things.
I'm very much looking forward to see the evolution of publishing. We're seeing the world of Web3 and metaverse. A very special episode here in terms of topic and discussion. Hi everyone, here it's Maira Genovese, founder and president of Empower Global Digital Marketing Powerhouse. Today I'm here with my lovely Siang, our talent director at Empower, and together we'll have the pleasure to receive at Influencer Marketing Uncover podcast the wonderful Alinka Rutkowska. Alinka, please tell me that I said your surname correctly.
It's perfect. Thank you so much.
Amazing. So Alinka, she's the founder and CEO of Leaders Press, a USA Today and Wall Street Journal best-selling press. She has developed a method for guaranteed press best-selling book publishing, and she's helping many entrepreneurs and business leaders to share their knowledge and legacy to the world. Having launched over 500 books, this is remarkable, with best-selling status, her mission is to help 10,000 entrepreneurs to share their wisdom by 2030. Siang, how amazing is to have a guest.
We're so
like
lucky.
Alinka.
We are so lucky.
I'm so happy to also have you for the first time here with me as a co-host on our third episode of our Influencer Marketing Uncover podcast season 2. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Myra. It's an honor to be here as well. And I'm super excited to hear what Alinka has to share with us on our main topic today, which is how the publishing industry is actually keeping up with the creator economy. So just to add to Myra's introduction, Alinka is also a best-selling author herself, having published several titles across fiction, nonfiction, and children's book. She is a member of Forbes Business Council and has been featured on Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, Entrepreneurs on Fire, and Fox News, and among many other outlets. Welcome to the Influencer Marketing Uncovered podcast, and thank you for joining us all the way from Italy. Did we leave anything out of your amazing resume?
Now, this is perfect. I think the most important and interesting part is that I can help our listeners get their books done and out and on bestseller lists. So if this is what you're interested in, then we could definitely chat about that throughout the interview and anything else regarding publishing and marketing.
Amazing. Welcome again, Alinka. And it's the first time I think we're having a publishing and as a guest on our podcast. So very special episode here in terms of topic and discussion. And we have, so many questions to you. But I think to start with, we wanted to, as we are a digital marketing, agency, we work a lot with creators and talents, not just developing digital marketing strategy for a brand, but also developing strategy for our own talents that we represented and helping us then to grow within their career and guiding them through the journey, what is being a creator, right? So with the publishing industry, what are you feeling about how the publishing industry is keeping up with the creator economy? And have you seen any impact or a transformation within the published industry with the rise of influencers, cultural voices, and content creators? Because based on your CV here that we as we introduced to you, you work with a lot of entrepreneurs, right? But nevertheless to say that creators, they are entrepreneurs as well, right? But just like it would be wonderful for us to start with that link of publishing, creating and creators economy and your view on that.
Well, it's never been easier to get your voice out right now. And that's both on audio, video, in book form. There are no more gatekeepers, really. So it is a matter of your marketing capability. You, as a digital marketing agency, know a lot about that. For the publishing industry, until not so long ago, you first had to find an agent, and that was not easy. If you were able to find an agent, then that agent would pitch you to publishers, and then maybe a publisher will take your manuscript under their wing and then develop it and publish it and market it. And that would be like a 2 to 2.5 year adventure from the moment that you find that agent. And you probably need to contact still like hundreds of them before you find one. So very difficult. It was very difficult to get a book out, and it was considered a very prestigious thing. It's still considered prestigious, but it's much easier to do. So anybody can go to kdp.com, which is Amazon's publishing platform, and publish pretty much anything. Now, the problem is that if it's terrible, nobody's going to buy it, but you have the power. So you have the power to actually get out there, just like you have the power to create your podcast or YouTube video. Maybe nobody's going to listen to it or view the video, but you can create that medium and start marketing it. And I think that empowered so many creators because it became less of a validation type of thing, like one person or one small team will decide whether your ideas are worthy. No, it's actually your audience that is deciding. And probably marketing right now became, the number one superpower you can have as a professional, because how are people going to find out about the amazing value that you can provide if you didn't do your job in spreading the word? So I know that this is your superpower, so you're able to spread the word for creators of pretty much anything. But as far as books are concerned, it's never been easier. Now there are pros and cons, of course, because it's never been easier, but if you don't know what you're doing, then you're not going to get any eyeballs on that book. So you really need to start either learning how to publish a book like the professionals do, or outsource it to a professional team. And in terms of publishing, there are 3 main streams. So we discussed the traditional publishing, which is going through an agent. Then I spoke briefly about self-publishing, when you do it yourself. And then there's hybrid publishing, which is what we do at Leaders Press, which is a combination of these both of these worlds. And by hybrid, I mean that you get the professional assistance of a editorial team, and you get traditional distribution, which we do through our distribution partner, Simon & Schuster. But you also have a lot of creative control. So we would never say, your cover idea is terrible, we're not going to use it. We won't let anybody publish a terrible cover, but we will work really tightly with them to make sure that both the author is happy and it's a quality cover. So these are the 3 main streams in the publishing world right now. And we can talk about anything you want from here. We can compare, we can dive into one of them, whatever you feel is most beneficial to our listeners.
Very interesting, and I love the way you describe like the 3 kind of possibilities of how you can have and create it in your book. And to your point, yes, like if you think about not too long ago, right, to have a book written, it was something that is quite unachievable, right? Because as you said, you have to have an agency, then you have to go and
It sounds like a wild dream to even have a book back then, you know?
Exactly. Now it feels that it's much more accessible, especially within the digital space, right? Because we're talking about Kindle, Amazon, and other digital formats books. So tell us a little bit about that, right? So it is, digital book as, powerful nowadays as the traditional books. So how do you see that? Because now a lot of people, they don't buy more the actual book, right? Because they prefer to read on their their iPads or their mobile phones. Is that have been an impact within the industry, or no? It's more is a more possibility of selling the book because you have the the digital as well as the paper format.
When we do books, our authors always want both formats, always a paperback or hardcover and an ebook, and then very often also an audiobook, which is usually a digital download. Well, a couple of CDs, but mostly digital downloads. So the ebook is really, really powerful. The ebook is gives you that instant gratification. So you click and it's on your reader and you can start reading right now. You don't have to wait. I know, like in New York, you maybe wait an hour and a drone brings the book. That's not what happens in where I live. You don't wait a couple of days. So just being able to get it immediately is huge. These ebook sales count towards bestseller lists. So we get books on the USA Today and Wall Street Journal bestseller lists. Ebooks count a big time. So that's really important to have that and be able to orchestrate a bestseller launch through the digital format. So I think it's the new, it's the new ebook, it's the new version of a book. And then the audiobook, which is also digital for the most part, is huge because of, very well, we're recording a podcast that people are listening to podcasts. And so they will also, this is the same audience that likes audiobooks for the same reasons. So this is huge. If you're a business owner or any type of professional who's doing a book to build their business, to grow their brand, you want an audiobook because there is a percentage of your audience that will only listen. And this is how they're going to get into your world and potentially become your clients. And then there are people, and then it depends on who your audience is. So if you're talking to digital marketers, maybe you can skip the paperback format, although I would not. But it makes sense that the majority of your readers will download the book. If your audience is grandmas right now, then maybe they don't like the ebook, they like paper, and the majority of your sales will be paperbacks. But if you're an entrepreneur, you want all the formats because I'm pretty sure that one or two clients that will come through any of those formats will make it worthwhile to have them produced.
So Alinka, I think you touch on a really good subject. I think this segues into, because like you were saying about what your audience wants versus like the type of formats that comes through. And I really wanted to like kind of jump in earlier on, which is because you said the secret sauce to really like publishing and like whichever like method that you go with, it's really a good marketing strategy. So my question would be, does the different formats affect how you market the books? Like, well, what's your experience or expertise like has been so far?
Well, yes. For most of the online marketing, you will want to push the ebook and audiobook versions. They are all linked on the main retailer site. So if you go to Amazon, you're going to see them all there. So you can select your format. But if you're looking, for example, to drive visitors to a bookstore, then you're really pushing the paperback. And you might want to drive them through, let's say, Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, because you can choose the geographical area. So you might want to do that. But maybe you want to have a old school newspaper ad and drive them to the bookstore or drive them to a paperback, because if somebody's buying the newspaper that they like to touch and smell.
Yeah, sometimes you just want like that book, the feeling of that paperback,
Yeah, you just you need to be consistent.
Got it. No, like that's great insight. And also because I also kind of want to touch base on like, because you shared so much, like so much to unpack earlier on. You know, it comes to the good thing is now kind of everyone could publish themselves or self-publish, but also like, I wouldn't say it's the bad side of it, but like when everyone could self-publish, it comes with noise, you know, like, so my question, I'm trying to be politically correct here, like what in your own opinion makes a good book, you know, what makes a book that's worthy for publishing? What do you look out for at Leader Press?
Right. Well, when we get started on a project, even before we onboard a client or even before they sign up, the number one thing we want to understand is where the book is going to sit on the bookshelf. So you, as an author, the best exercise you can do before you get started on your book is you go into a bookstore, you look for your shelf, and let's say it's business, and then you start narrowing down. So what exactly is your topic? Is it leadership? Is it finance? Is it IT? Is it small business? And then you need to figure out where your book belongs. That specific bookshelf, the books on that bookshelf are called your competing titles. And you want to now find your unique selling proposition or how you are going to stand out and give the reader a reason to buy your book and not the one sitting on the bookshelf next to yours. So that's what we want to find out. That's where we start. And that's what will make a great book.
That's very, I never thought about it, that to think about having a book, you need to go first at a bookstore and understand where where you want it to be on the shelf. Very, very, very interesting insight. No idea that this is how to start it, but makes totally sense, right? We need to understand what are the topic that we wanted to talk about. Is business, is mental health, is finance. So it's a very good point. But do you also, like, when the author decide, okay, they wanted to talk about business, how is your involvement as the publishing to understand if that story that the entrepreneur wanted to talk about, that will engage online and offline, right? If they decided to do the paperback and also the online version, what are the influence that you guys have on providing that insight, but that story actually it's not going to engage, or yes, that's a great story that can engage, because it is not just about what the author wanted to talk about, but that story will resonate and will engage, right? Because I'm assuming that's a secret sauce on that, right?
Right. So we have two tracks at Leaders Press. One is when we get an author with an idea in their head, and we start with that positioning exercise that I described. Then we create an outline together, and then we have a series of interviews where we ask them questions and record those. Those are transcribed, and that's the foundation of the book. Then the book is ghostwritten based on those. So it's a collaborative process. And our project managers and interviewers are super skilled at asking the right questions to pull out a great story. So that's the easy part if we're able to create it. Then the more challenging bit is when we get a manuscript that's already been written. And then, evaluate whether this is something that we want to put our name on and our logo on. And also push through our distribution partner, Simon & Schuster, with their logo on it. So what we do is we send those manuscripts to our editors for an evaluation. And we get a 2-page evaluation that tells us, if this is a story that will fly according to them or not. And then there are several aspects that it's being judged by. And there's the, arc of the story, marketability. There's also, the writing style, grammar and stuff. So if it's a great story, it has terrible, grammar, needs to be edited, that's fine, we can do that. If it's, just doesn't fit or is bland, we don't think it's gonna fly, it's not written very well, then we will give them that feedback written by the editor, everything. Like, we're not gonna hold back, we're not gonna say, oh no, just thank you. We're actually gonna tell them, because it's valuable to know. And in that case, if we're not able to work with this, we will suggest that we start working from scratch and interview them. And in many cases, they agree. They can see it. Then, you know, if your manuscript gets a 3 out of 10, it's because that's how it's been evaluated by an editor. So it's really, well, I would say almost impartial. I mean, because they're working with us, but it's like I don't say give everybody low votes because I want to do this book for them from scratch. So it is a really good way to understand where your book stands, and you know, for us, it's also a way to be able to filter what we're doing, because we won't publish any just any book. There are books or topics that we don't want to
publish. Yeah, no, it's a good thing that you said, because my next, you know, like, not question, but to understand is just like, how do you select, you know, like the books and the stories that you will engage with and work with the entrepreneur? And are you now open just to, because like historically, all you guys do is to collaborate with entrepreneurs, right, for them to write their own books. But now with, as we're discussing here about the rise of influencers and creators, we can see there's a lot of creators and influencers writing a book, some of them becoming bestsellers, because people are like, that's something that we cannot neglect, right? That nowadays people, they do have an interest on like how that influencer became, you know, a 20 million, you know, $1,000,
and they come with that marketing knowledge
exactly
on their platforms as well.
So it's exactly, so they are able to marketing their own book through their platform because they already have their community. So we see like, you know, influencers with 9 million followers that when they do a book, it's like sold out in a matter of hours, because they already have that community that is interesting to read more about the stories, how they started, or like whatever topic it is, the people will buy. Is it something that, you know, how do you see that, you know, element of, you know, bookings being written and by creators and influencers? Is it something that you, as a publishing, consider to collaborate with creators, influencers, or no, for you it's all about, you know, the stories of entrepreneurs and so on and so forth?
Yes. Yeah. Our main audience is entrepreneurs and anybody who is a professional of some sort. So anything nonfiction, really. Influencers, of course. We just don't do fiction. We started a new imprint for fiction, for a manuscript that's ready, even children's books that we're expanding, but our core is
very exciting.
Yeah. Our core is still entrepreneurship. And the two main types of books that we do is, one is for an entrepreneur or a influencer who wants to grow their business or expand their brand.
Interesting. Okay, so you do that.
And that book becomes a lead generator. So it can basically be found on Amazon, because Amazon is a search box. If anybody's looking for, let's say, digital marketing,
we will go to Amazon.
They will go to Amazon. The credit card is hooked up already to Amazon. And then we would want to, if that was you, position your book so that it pops up when somebody looks for that. They can start reading it and say, "Ooh, wow, these guys really know what they're talking about." Click through to a link to sign up for your mailing list, and then you have a prospect that you can start a conversation with. Then the second part is more of a legacy piece. So if, for example, you, Maira, as the founder, would want to have a book that shows how you arrived, where you've arrived, all the things that you've done, and something that will remain after you've moved on in your business or you know, another world, then that's going to stay. And so it's you position things differently. If you want to say, this is how you do digital marketing, you're probably not going to share your childhood stories in it. If you're going to do, you know, your life story, then you will, and it's going to be less businessy. So these are the two types.
Yeah, Alinka, I think you may have found yourself another client here. So Myra over here is not only an entrepreneur, she's also an influencer in her very own right. So for someone like Myra, what advice or tip would you give her when it comes to like, I guess like thinking about her book or even Myra? Like, wait, before we jump onto that, Mai, do you want to do you have a dream of like maybe publishing your own book someday?
Someday, yes, but I wouldn't go into that direction on the business element at all. Like, this is something.
I think we need to.
Yeah, this is something that
Dive into.
I wouldn't do.
Why not? Why not?
Because I think it's a maybe Alinka, just correct me if I'm wrong. It's just the business, opportunities for books. It is it's quite of a crowd market right now, right? For me, like when I go to bookshops, if I'm looking for a business related book, there's so many options with the same subject. Then you go like, why everyone is reading the same kind of topic when it comes to business? So I feel like this is my perception that can be a little bit saturated, and also like for you to get the engagement with seeing all those books that you have, to talk about business. And I think anyway, my story wouldn't be interested on the business level. I think it would be more about my story for
being
sure.
humble here. I think it will be quite refreshing to hear from a cultural person of color, female entrepreneur.
Yeah, we'll go more to that direction.
It's really just in like started her business out like from like scratch and just like built this like digital marketing powerhouse itself. Alinka, do you think like there is a shelf, a space somewhere?
He's trying to sell me here on this podcast, Alinka.
I love what you said, because these are like, we have like a list of objections, and these are like the typical.
Right?
No, yes.
But really,
The standard ones, like, aren't there already enough books? There are plenty of books, but this is this first exercise that we talked about at the beginning.
Yeah.
You need to fit into something. So the fact that there are books on the topic is good. It means people are interested in it and want to buy those books. And they usually don't just buy one. They buy 5 or 10.
I've bought a lot.
Because they want to learn everything. And then how are you different? AMD Empower isn't exactly like other companies out there. So this is your opportunity to explain what your framework is, and to have an extra lead generation tool. So if your competitors are having books on shelves and you're not, then the ones that like to consume information via books are all flowing to them, as opposed to you. You're getting the people who are listening to podcasts.
It's true. That's true.
But you might be missing out right there. And do you have anything interesting to say? I've only heard interesting things from you today. So
yeah. So let's see. You never say no, right? And I think
we'll have this conversation after this.
He's doing a pitch.
We're doing a pitch.
Pitch.
I'm a manager. Like, just saying.
But what I'm super interested about is just like, how will the published industry will type into Web3 and metaverse? Because I am so obsessed about at the moment with metaverse. Myself, because as a digital marketing agency, and collaborating and working with brands on how to innovate it when it comes to disruption, to promote their brands and their service and the products. And it's metaverse is not that this is going to be the new thing in the future. It's already happening, right? We've been talking a lot of hospitality clients that they really wanted to understand if they can create a virtual space of their hospitality, that people can also, instead of traveling to Italy to stay in a beautiful hotel and enjoy the beautiful Italy, they will be able to join and immerse into. It's not the same, of course, and there we talk about virtual space and real life experience, but people and brands and services, they already start talking about and thinking about that, because it would be a demand. We will have people that would prefer to, embark into a virtual space and less on the, real life experience, and vice versa. Would this affect publishing in terms of not affecting on a bad way, affecting on giving you more opportunities on publishing and promoting books, or even creating virtual experience of book stories?
We are not there yet. So this is all in my mind right now. We don't have a service for it. But, I think we could have a conversation like this, right, in the metaverse, and open it up to like all the listeners being here right now with us in the room. We're talking about books, not about a specific book, but we could invite an author, doing a talk about their subject matter. And that could be the type of experience that we would be able to provide. So it's almost as if it was a book signing, where you don't have to go anywhere physically. You can, join in from.
Amazing, love that. So if I do a book, that's the direction I wanted to go. I wanted to have a metaverse book signing and interact with
e-sign on the books that is also an NFT.
Because I think that is like the future of disruption for for books. And I love what you said, that like, yes, we can create that metaverse experience, because a lot of on Roblox, right, which is a platform of gaming. They do have their virtual space, and what a lot of the film industry is doing before the film goes to the cinema, so they create the whole meet the casting within the virtual space at Roblox, and I think that will evolve for metaverse for sure. And then I think it's the same you can apply for book launch, which it's something that I haven't thought before. But
and Linka, I think you used the word experience. Like, I think that's just so spot on. I feel like with Web3, it's disrupting how we experience things. And I think a book, in whether or not it's an ebook or like a paperback, it is still an experience. So I guess my question would be, have you seen some changes in the publishing industry whereby they're starting to maybe dip their feet a little bit into that space of like changing the experience of consuming books?
So you said it's happening now. It's happening now. It's a little bit in the future, slightly. So what I'm seeing is conversation in masterminds and groups of entrepreneurs, where we do talk about NFTs and the book publishing industry and how that could work. I haven't actually experienced it, being done. But I think we're, just one step away from it. And it's just a matter, not of if, but of when.
Okay.
I'm very I really wanted to see where the word's going to lead us all within this virtual space.
I'm tempted to ask Alinka what any possible theories or like conversations they can maybe sneak and share with our audience. Like, just when it comes to like the possibility of just like that changing the way we publish book or consume books. Is there any you could share with us, or that's like top secret?
Well, I don't think I have anything like actionable right now. So it's all in the ideation phase.
Okay.
I'm thinking if we have this conversation again this time next year, like we might be talking only about this throughout the whole.
I'm putting you down for season 3 right now. We will be in touch, Alinka.
And Alinka, I think like one of the things that we all very like, and I'm sure our audience that is listening to us now, is about the fact that when you guys publishing books, you guarantee the best-selling status for the author. How is it, again, is it something that you can tell us, like how you guys can guarantee that? Is it because of the marketing that you guys do behind the
secret
promotion?
Sauce. Want it.
What is the secret sauce? Because everyone wants, like, whoever wants to, that is listening to us today, that are interested in publishing a book, as you said at the beginning of the conversation, if you are publishing a book, you want them to be successful, right? You want people to read.
And just to add to Maira, one of Alinka's best-selling book, which is How I Sold 80,000 book, it's available. Go check it out. I'm sure there's a lot of secrets in there, but Alinka, we want to hear it now in
From
this
you,
podcast
yeah.
from this part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want it now. I want it all. I want it now. Okay. We guarantee various levels of bestseller. We can have an Amazon bestseller, or we can go all the way up to USA Today or Wall Street Journal bestseller. The method is similar, only the sort of scope is different. So what we do is we orchestrate the launch several months ahead. We know exactly when the book is going to come out, and we work with partners who mail their audiences in that specific period of time. So we know who we need to reach out to, how many they are, how many sales we can expect in order to get to the numbers that we need to get. So it's mostly through email marketing and through our partnerships that we've developed over the years.
Yep. And does it change if the said author is a creator with like already existing following across social? Does that make it easier or like?
So we guarantee a spot on the list, but when you come in with a platform, you can get a better rank on that list.
Got it. And how would a creator get in touch if they want to? We have a lot of creators on this podcast listening. So if they want to get in touch and really just kind of like go through the experience, how would they do it?
Well, the best way is to go to leaderspress.com/discover. And then you can go through a 1-minute quiz that will tell you what type of book you should write, the lead generator, the legacy piece, anthology, because there's different types. And you'll also get an audiobook, my audiobook, Outsource Your Book, which describes the 17 steps that we use to get our books out. And it's an audiobook, so you like to listen, you're going to have it in audio format. And you get both these things when you go to leaderspress.com/discover.
Mike's gonna do that straight after this.
Alinka, what a pleasure to have you with us today to discuss such an, interesting, as I said, topic that we haven't had any guests that, coming from publishing before. And I'm very much looking forward to see the evolution of publishing. We're seeing the word of Web3 and metaverse, as you said, it's too early age now. We know it's happening, but, now I think not just, on the publishing side of it, I think everyone is at the momentum of ideating, right? Ideating ideas, trying to understand, how can we engage with avatars, right? Because we're all gonna be consumers, but like we're gonna be, virtual consumers, like as an avatar. And it's going to be an interesting to see where we are in a year time, because things are moving very quickly, right? Within the digital landscape and all the offers that are out there. I think when you mentioned about the Amazon, like the Amazon became a Google search, right? So if you're looking to buy a book or if you're looking to buy a product, the first place you go, at least I do, is to go to Amazon. Not necessarily you want to buy from Amazon, but you end up buying from Amazon because like, oh my God, Amazon it can become you addicted. And I only buy books through Amazon. I'm a paper book, but always when I'm on social media, on Instagram, and I can see, people sharing, the books they're reading. First thing I go is check on Amazon. So great insights here. Siang, I know we could stay here forever.
I hope to, but Alinka, thank you so much for having us. I will be in touch for Maira's book.
Oh my God, he's still telling me.
And also some of our audience, some of the creators in our audience that would love to like also be part of like Leader Press. I feel like that's something that we could keep on talking, but I think that's a conversation we'll probably take off this podcast, Maira.
Absolutely. And I think, yes, there's a lot of opportunities for creators. I truly believe that, so many influencers out there, they have a great story to tell. But again, it's all about finding the right opportunity and the right, publishing to support them and throughout the journey, and a good marketing for sure. So Alinka, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. What a pleasure. We will be sure to be in touch. And for all of our audience that's here listening to this podcast, hope you have enjoyed. And if you have any question to Alinka, we will add her contact details and website on this podcast. And then you can find our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Play, and Amazon. So all details of, Alinka will be there. And then, of course, if you have any questions to me or Siang, we'll be more than happy as well to be answering your questions. Thank you so much once again for being listening to our Influencer Marketing Uncover podcast. And I hope to see you all soon on our next episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much, Siang. What a pleasure to have you.
It's been a learning experience.
Amazing. So we'll do more together for sure. Alinka, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Maira. Thank you, Siang. Thank you, listeners. This has been amazing.
See ya, Alinka.
See you soon. Thank you so much.